Hi everyone and welcome back to Puzzled by Lisa. Today's episode is one that I've been really excited about because it's entirely dedicated to one of my favorite artists, Ingrid Slyder Nutshell Designs. She's the talent behind so many Ravensburger puzzles, and this year she was a guest at Nationals. So whether you're already an Ingrid Slyder superfan or just starting to discover her whimsical style, this episode is for you. And guess what? Ingrid herself is going to be a guest in this episode, so you really want to stay and learn a lot of things that you couldn't know otherwise. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and comment and write and share with other puzzlers all the great things that you do for a podcast that you love about puzzles that you love. And we're going to dive in just a moment. See, number 1, Surf's Up 1500 pieces that is from 2025. This is a strong one of the newest puzzles of 2025, 1500, delightful, and it's titled Surf's Up. This puzzle is colorful, cheerful, beautifully illustrated, everything you'd accept from Ingrid Slyder, but there's no animals and it's not about Christmas, and that's two things we'll see a lot with Ingrid. Going back to 2020, we have Sidewalk Fashion, another 1500 jam by Ingrid. This one is super cool. It's bursting with colors and it's such a fresh, playful vibe. I did this puzzle in 2020, but unfortunately I didn't take a nice photo, so I guess I'll need to do it again. Honestly, I'm not really mad about this. It is going to be fun. And if you're hesitant about jumping into 1500 puzzles, Ingrid's designs, as you can see, are the perfect way to ease into them. They're detailed and they have enough colors and they're never overwhelming. So if this is something that you'd like to try, that's definitely a thing that you should consider. Here's a brand new one from 2025 that I finished as soon as I got it, Mother Gooseville. This puzzle is packed with storybook charm, featuring so many characters and so many classic tales. Beautiful. There are lots of animals, fun stories, little scenes tucked in each corner. It's busy, very busy, but it is incredibly rewarding to do. Hi, Ingrid. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm so excited to meet you also in Nationals. So welcome. I'm pretty sure lots of people in the puzzling community would love to hear more about you and about your art. And so it's super exciting to have you here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm really pleased to be here, and I'm excited to talk about Puzzle Nationals. That was a really exciting event, and I was thrilled to be a part of it.
So I have actually a question about how you got into making puzzles, because you have made lots and lots of puzzles, and I think a long time ago was your first one. So how did you even get to this?
Well, it was kind of an accident in a way. I was showing my art at a trade show, and Ravensburger happened to be attending, and this was back in about 2004, and my style lends itself pretty well to puzzles because I put in a lot of detail and my colors are bright. I believe it was a Noah's Ark puzzle, and they saw the Noah's Ark image and they thought, oh, that'll be good for puzzles, and it kind of went from there.
And that was what, 100-piece puzzle?
It was yes, it was a children's puzzle. I don't remember, it might have been 60 pieces, but it's somewhere buried in my attic.
So you did the first 60 and then you just continued working with them until you got additional puzzles every time?
That's right. They kept coming back and visiting me at the same trade show every year, and I would show them what I had that was new, and then they would pick out what they thought was appropriate, and we pretty much worked that way. Or I would bring them ideas rather than the other way around. I would show them what I had. And I started tailoring my art more and more for puzzles because I really enjoyed it and it really fit well with my style.
Do you remember when was your first 500 and above puzzle, and like which one was the first one you've done?
I really don't. I'm sure it was within the last 10 years, though. It's pretty recent.
Do you do your own puzzles?
I do occasionally with my family members. I do it as more of a communal activity, particularly at vacation time. I'm definitely not a speed puzzler. I'm the slowest puzzler in the world. But I will say that making a puzzle image satisfies the same feeling as doing a puzzle because you're really working on something that kind of develop, well, if you do it slowly, can develop slowly over time and you're slowly laying color in small areas. And when I'm making a puzzle image, I'll have a podcast on and I'll have maybe a hot cup of tea on my desk, and that kind of sets a relaxing atmosphere, and I can just lose myself into the little scene I'm creating.
So you did mention you're doing lots of Christmas puzzles, and I have one of the rare ones here, but I wonder, how do you get into the Christmas theme? Because what I see is you have a lot of Christmas puzzles and you have a lot of cute animal puzzles. So I wonder what is gravitating you towards those topics.
Well, I am a character artist, so I really am I'm really drawn to anything that has people or animals in it. And the Christmas themes, I also do work for a stationery company. So a lot of the ones that you see as puzzle images are also advent calendars. That way I can kind of satisfy two different customers at the same time. But I usually have in my head that, oh, this would work as a puzzle as I'm making it.
So you just like Christmas?
I do like Christmas, and I have lots of ideas for Christmas for some reason. So yeah, I keep coming up with different things I want to do as Christmas puzzles.
Because there is not a lot of Christmas puzzles by different artists, even for Ravensburger. You're, I think, probably the second largest collection of Christmas that comes from the same artist. I love your style. It's always so many cute things going on with Christmas. The songbirds that you did was also a very special one.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun for me, is doing the little scenes and having them all, the little characters doing different actions and telling little stories within the larger theme.
I did want to ask you a bit about your style. I can say some of the things like the windows and stuff like that is something that is maybe almost like a trademark of how you do it. But I believe lots of people would love to know, how do you actually do it? Do you really draw with actual pencils or watercolors? How do you make this magic happen?
So I usually start, 90% of it is done by hand on a desk, but I usually start by doing a sketch on the computer. I didn't used to do it that way, but we've all kind of added computers in more and more in our lives. And that way I can change things around and change the size and move the characters around so I can get the best possible composition. And then I'll share that with the art director at Ravensburger, and then she'll give me feedback as to what she thinks could be better or what else she'd like to see on it. And then after that, I'll transfer it to a big piece of watercolor paper, and I'll start from there. Then I'll start laying in the color and working out more of the details. The sketches, I would never want to show anyone the preliminary sketches other than the art director, though, because I'm always afraid they're going to hate the design because it looks so crude. It's a very rough sketch.
Really? I actually want to ask you to share maybe one or two that I can show people how it looks. I think, for us, the people that don't do art, it's really interesting sometimes to see how everything starts. It's very hard to imagine that if you're not an artist. So it's actually really interesting. So you do the first sketch on the computer and you share it with Ravensburger. And what do you do then?
So after I started the first sketch, I'll work out all the details, and I'll use watercolor pencils because those will dissolve. And it takes me probably 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes a little longer if it's a very complicated and large image. And then after that, I'll scan it back into the computer and I'll do some tweaks in Photoshop. I did bring an example of an original down to show you. It's very large, so I'm going to have to step up. And this will show you the part that I don't do by hand. So here's the first one I have to show you is from Mother Gooseville, which is a new one that's coming out. See if you can see the whole thing. And the main difference between what ended up on the finished puzzle and the original is that I did the sky as a separate piece. So there's a night sky, and it's really difficult to paint around all the little stars. It's just much easier if I just paint a big blue strip and scan that separately and then lay it in behind the stars when I have it on the computer. There you go. You can see the difference. So it's 90% hand drawn. It's almost identical, but then there's some little differences like the position of the sky added in. And I have examples of a few other ones as well that I can show you. The next one is from the image that was used at the Puzzle Nationals, and that was called the Butterfly Place. Mm-hmm. You can see how really large they are. I mean, I always try and make them at least 1-to-1, and sometimes even larger, so that because that means the detail is more tight after it's scanned and reduced.
So what you're basically doing is you're doing all the puzzle and all the details, and then only if you have some kind of a background, you're leaving it for later, and then you put it as a layer underneath the beautiful image that you created.
That's correct.
Oh God.
It's all watercolor. It's all painted. And in this one, you can see the main difference is, it's the purple border. And the purple was actually suggested by the art director because apparently puzzlers really like the color purple. So that was how that ended up the way it did.
I like the color purple. I never heard that.
I know. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that I like personally yellow when I'm doing puzzles. For some reason, it works great for me to actually do that, but it's amazing. And I think you said that a lot of people told you also that they really like border in the puzzle.
They do. In fact, I probably going forward, I plan to add more borders to my art just because I got so much feedback that said that they like borders. I guess because it gives a nice defined way to start the puzzle for a lot of puzzlers. If the proportions change after I've done it, it's much harder to crop it if there's a border. So I have to do more tweaking on Photoshop. But I actually enjoy doing borders because it's just another way to add in more interesting detail. So that'll be fun for me knowing that.
Did you even know that this is going to be a competition puzzle?
Well, I didn't know when I was designing it. After I submitted it to the art director, I think she felt like it had a universal enough theme and she liked the colors and that she really thought it would work well as a competition puzzle. So that was an exciting surprise for me. And then I was also told I couldn't tell anybody about it. So I kept completely quiet about it for a year, just so nobody got an advantage knowing what was coming.
And how is it to feel like 400 people doing your puzzle? Like, how does it feel? Can you describe that?
Well, it completely blew my mind. It was an extremely surreal experience. I mean, if I ever see someone doing a puzzle, it's like one person at a time. So to see this giant group going at it all at once was really mind blowing. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I tried to work in different little activities that butterflies would do. I have them landing on butterfly bushes, and I really did some research to make sure that the flowers they're landing on are the kinds that butterflies like to seek out. And I thought of other activities they would do, like a caterpillar or coming out of a chrysalis. I really enjoyed doing that puzzle, and I hope everybody else enjoyed doing it at Nationals as I enjoyed making it.
You're such a researcher, right? Like, I mean, you're making...
Well, for that one I had to do the research. Yeah, totally. I do spend a lot of time making lists of ideas of things I want to work into the puzzle. That's a big part of the process for me.
Did want to ask you about this puzzle because it's another new one that's coming and I really loved it. And I thought it was pretty unique to some of the puzzles that you're doing because it doesn't have animals, it doesn't have Christmas. It does have animals, but it's not the main theme of the puzzle, basically. So I wanted to ask, how did you come up with this beautiful puzzle?
Well, I like to do puzzles. Since I know I like to do puzzles while I'm on vacation, I always assume other people do too. So I thought, well, what would be a fun vacation theme? And of course, the beach is a natural. And I love the colors that are associated with the kinds of things you see at the beach, the bright towels and surfboards. I mean, there's just so many opportunities to lay in detail and color that just seemed like a natural fit for me. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that puzzle. And I like the little animals that are in there. I like there's like a shark and a cat up at the top, and there's some little seagulls and some other little critters that I worked in.
Yeah, you definitely made this one very big fun. And I actually mentioned in some videos that even people that are afraid of 1,500 pieces can really enjoy this one because it has nice ability to sort between the different bright colors.
But I'm glad you've had a good experience with it. That's good feedback.
One more that I had a really good experience with is this one, Sidewalk Fashion, which I know in this 1,500, but also in 1,000 in a small box. And I wanted to mention this one specifically because it was, I would call it a pandemic puzzle. It was time that there was no puzzles, but this came out and it was so delightful. And I need to do it again. You might want to tell us more about this one.
Yes, I'm flattered that you want to do it again. I take that as a good sign. I had fun doing that puzzle because I don't get to do a lot of puzzles that have people in them. I'm steered usually more towards doing puzzles that have animals instead of people, just because Americans really, if they don't see a person that looks like them on the cover of the puzzle, they're less likely to buy it. And I was told actually just recently that that's not true for people in Europe. They will buy more puzzles that have people in them. So, it was a fun opportunity to do people. And at the time, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was a big show on television, and she wore all those beautiful vintage costumes. And that was really the inspiration for it, was trying to come up with all the beautiful outfits that people wore in that era. I enjoyed that puzzle a lot. I'm glad you did too.
I like your people, if that helps.
Thank you.
I especially think about some of your Christmas puzzles that are having the elves and Santa. I know it's slightly different, but they're always super cute.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And luckily Santa and elves are pretty universal, and most people are happy to get a puzzle with Santa on it. I can also work in people if they're tiny enough. If it's a whole bunch of really tiny people, well, then people can kind of envision themselves in the picture without being turned off by seeing someone who doesn't look like them.
Yeah, I think it's just that when the person is big enough and you have a face, and it does work in UK nostalgic puzzles when you have like an actual very clear human, and then I agree with you that people are like, why am I doing a photo of somebody else?
That's true.
One more thing I actually wanted to mention is, this puzzle came out and it's a 300 piece called Home Sweet Home. And later on, you did a 750 that's called the Bird Watchers. And I couldn't not pay attention that it looks like the bird watchers are looking from the window on an image that looks almost the same as this one. I wanted to probably confirm that you did that all deliberately.
Well, I actually have the original for that puzzle right here. And I think what you noticed was that the puzzle, someone's doing a bird puzzle on the table in the center here.
Uh-huh.
That is that puzzle image. They are doing the puzzle. So it's like it's a little Easter egg for puzzlers to find. If they've done the other puzzle, then they might recognize it sitting on the table in this puzzle.
Amazing. I love the size of this thing. It's really giant.
It is. It's huge. There it is.
How do you not get it smeared when you're doing that with the watercolor pencil?
Well, no, I do it with a paintbrush, but I start on the left side and I work my way across. And that way I'm never dragging my arm across the paper. And sometimes I'll put like a piece of tracing paper under my arm just to protect the art if I'm working on an area I've already worked on. It is something you have to be really careful. I have to say I have smeared before. In fact, I used to have a cat and I had to be so careful to cover the artwork because there was one time where I had a picture and it was completely done and I had a big blue sky and it was kind of a circus theme, and the cat walked through the red paint and across the sky. And I just about died when I saw it. So that picture has a lot of balloons in the sky.
I can't imagine. Like, oh my God, like you get the footprints.
So yeah, there's always a way to fix things, fortunately.
Oh my God.
That's
wow.
the great thing about the computer era.
That was a great story. Thank you, Ingrid. And I mean, I really hope you're going to keep doing lots and lots of puzzles. Each one is delightful. So
Well, thank you. I hope so too. I have no plans to ever retire.
Illustrate for your kind of like lifeline, right? Like it's not.
Sure. I feel very blessed, no question. I would say I had a wonderful time at Puzzle Nationals meeting all of the puzzlers. Everybody was extremely kind. It was such a warm community. It's a rare treat for me to get to talk to people who actually do my puzzles. So I enjoyed that thoroughly, and I hope I'll get a chance to do more of that in the future.
Yeah. Let's move into Christmas puzzles, where Ingrid truly shines. Playful Christmas Day from 2019 is considered a very rare gem. I haven't done this one yet, but I'm saving it for Christmas 2025, and I've been really looking forward for it. Beautiful puzzle. We're going to see a lot more Christmas puzzles. Stay tuned. Now, this one, Santa's Ready, I have done. And let me tell you, it's a tough one to find, but it's worth tracking down. It's full of whimsical holiday spirit. And if you love Ingrid Christmas style, this one is definitely a must. It is super beautiful, and we'll see more of that. This one is really one of my most favorite Christmas puzzles. One that I sold is Christmas on Pet Street. It's another highly sought holiday puzzle. Christmas on Pet Street is beautiful. Lots of people are looking for it. I've done it. I loved it. And then I sold it. And ever since, people have been asking me about it. So if you have this puzzle, do it and think twice before letting it go. Midnight at the Library. This one is 2019. This is an absolute favorite, Midnight at the Library. It's full of magical scenes, books, and there is a lot of characters inside. A bit like Mother Gooseville, actually, but set in a dreamy midnight library. I have the small box version, as you can see, but it is also produced in a large box, and then it's re-released in the new smaller boxes of Ravensburger right now with a new serial number, and it is easy to find now, and if you haven't done it yet, you definitely should do it. It's really beloved by many, and you can very easily see why. Another gorgeous puzzle that I sold is a 750 piece puzzle from 2023. It's called the Bird Watchers. I actually sold it, but it is worth mentioning, of course, because we'll come back to some 300 that is kind of reminding of this. It's just a different angle of pretty much the same scene. So we will look at it shortly. And this is another Ingrid puzzle that is very unique. 4 seasons. It's a panorama puzzle that I sold, showing the seasons of the year through trees. It's wide because it's a panorama, and it's much shorter than normal 500. So it's not the typical format, but it's absolutely beautiful. I've done it and then I've sold it. I have, of course, the photo to show you here. It's quite a rarity and it's very, very special. And it doesn't have animals in it as well. Here comes one that I've done twice at the dog park. I first completed it in 2020 and I didn't get a great photo, as you probably know. So I did it again this March. And it's a large format puzzle. It's really not one of my favorite, but it's still very cute. Some people definitely will like it more than I did. I definitely think that it was better doing that the second time than the first time. But overall, it's definitely cute. Lots and lots and lots of dogs. And another one I've done twice is also large format, Catnap from 2019. And this is full of coziness and cuteness of cats. I didn't keep it the first time I've done it, but then I had to find it again and redo it and get a proper photo. So I absolutely love this one. It is really sweet and again, so much of Ingrid. And then we have this one. It's called Christmas Songbirds, and this is from 2021. It is a charming 500 piece, and there are very few small piece count Christmas puzzles. So I overall recommend to try to get them if you like the small piece count, and especially if you like large format. This one is showing us a group of songbirds, and they are celebrating the season, and it's super delightful. Highly, highly recommended. Worth taking a look. Not large format. So this puzzle has 2 serial numbers because again it's being re-released, and this is making my website harder to manage, but it's good for the puzzlers because now they can find this puzzle again and it's not going away from the stores. The music room is loved by many and it deserves that love. It's full of Ingrid, whimsical and gentle. There is so much music charm in this puzzle. And one more favorite holiday puzzle. Here comes Christmas, 500 pieces from 2023. I've done this puzzle twice already. It is similar in the feel to the one that we've seen earlier, Santa's Ready. It is cheerful with lots of magical energy. And you really want that one for a Christmas puzzle. Going into 300s, this one is called Pet Park. It is a joyful, playful puzzle full of Ingrid's signature pets. Pets and Christmas. Those are the 2 areas and themes that Ingrid likes the most, I believe. And she does both of them very well. This one is great for kids. It's really fun. It's pretty large pieces, of course, because it's 300. So if you are not familiar with this one, here's another one for your super rare puzzle, Nutcracker Ballet. I sold mine and I haven't been able to find another copy since. It's beautiful, it's festive, it's in high demand. Lots of people ask me about it, but unfortunately, I can't help with that. I do not know where to get this puzzle anymore. But if you're looking for interesting puzzles and Ingrid Slyder, maybe we can ask Ravensburger to re-release that one too. And then come the sweet 300-piece Home Tweet Home. It's a kind of companion to the Bird Watcher. I will show you both puzzles next to each other so you can actually see what I'm talking about. It's showing birds, and of course that's the different angle from the one the bird watchers are looking at, but it's actually kind of funny to see from the inside to the outside. I really love this one. I've done it twice as well. The last puzzle we're going to look at is Greenhouse Heaven. And yes, I have sold this one, even though it is heavenly. Beautiful, beautiful greenhouse. Very pretty. I wish I hadn't sold mine, but I have. And I would be happy to do it again if I could get it again. Now we're going to take a little bit behind the scenes tour, one that I'm especially excited about. During my conversation with Ingrid, she mentioned that she doesn't usually like to share her sketches. They feel a bit raw. But for this episode, she made an exception. And I feel incredibly lucky to share with you a few of these early drafts and rare versions that offer a window into how some of her most beloved puzzles came to life. Let's start with the Bird Watchers. This is a 750 puzzle, and if you've done it, you might be surprised right now to learn that originally it had an extra detail. Actually, it didn't have it, and then it had it, and then it didn't have it again. It was a cuckoo clock on the right side of the puzzle that you can see today. It didn't make it into the final design due to the layout and proportion changes. It's a 750, so it has different proportions in, let's say, 1,000 piece. But I have the original one that has the cuckoo clock and the one that is without it. And I would like you to see both because it's kind of interesting sometimes that there are more things in the puzzle that don't make it in. Let's move to Mother Goose Wheel. We have here the black and white sketch of this puzzle before it was painted. And as you can see, it's packed with nursery rhymes references. Ingrid, as a researcher, listed over 30 rhymes while designing it. She made sure that she included each one of them. You can see here Humpty Dumpty, Jack and Jill, the Muffin Man, and so many more. It's really fascinating to look how much research goes into even the most whimsical images here. There's also a sketch of Surf's Up, when it was still titled The Beach Shop. You can see one black and white sketch, and you can also see a colorful sketch. But what's even more fun is you can actually trace some of the elements in this puzzle back to a 100-piece puzzle that Ingrid did. It's called Suns at Shelley's, and I'm so lucky to see it here. It's from 2018. You can see we have the same kites and the same airplane and the same seagulls over here, and the shark has switched places. It's proof that sometimes a little idea in the shape of kids puzzle can become a much bigger one later on with the 1500 for adults. We also have a sketch that's called Butterfly Exhibit. That's the puzzle called Butterfly Place. Amazing, super beautiful sketch again. And we're going to end with a very special one, Noah's Ark Happy Landing. It's Ingrid's very first puzzle. It's a sweet Noah's Ark scene and great reminder of where it all began. Seeing these sketches and variations side by side with the finished puzzles gives us a new appreciation for the thought, care, and imagination that goes into every piece. I want us also to look together at 12 of Ingrid children's puzzles. These are just a small example from the puzzles that she has. She has so many that I'm not sure even where to get the full list of children's puzzles that she has. We have so many that are adults puzzle that is making us very lucky to be able to do most of the images that she creates. If you stay at the end, you're going to see all the completed puzzles. You actually can see the 100s that I am familiar with. So it will give you also some additional view on her puzzles. So you can see all of the collection that I have at least. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And don't forget to subscribe and like and say hi. I hope this episode helped you to find out more Ingrid Slyder's puzzles that maybe you didn't know about, or they reminded you some of the favorite ones that you do know. In the meantime, I would like to tell you that let's keep puzzling, all of us. Bye bye.